Hello and welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to talk about Black Friday trickery, because today, as of me filming this, it is Black Friday, and I noticed some really terrible trickery done this year that was very obvious, and I think it's mostly because Walmart got ahead of themselves. So usually when you see Black Friday sales, it shows, original price is, let's say $60, sale price $40. Well, Walmart was already pricing things at a new rollback number, so games that were originally $60 were rolled back to, let's say, some of them were 35, some of them were 50, stuff like that. And then the Black Friday sale would then bring those prices down to from like 35 to 30, or from like 50 to 40, and stuff like that. Now, if you look to other stores like Best Buy or Amazon, they didn't show this new rollback, which of course that's not their thing. They are all showing original, $60, $70 game. Oh, look, it's now $40. But I know for a fact that once Black Friday is over, all these games are suddenly going to get cheaper. Because if Walmart's going to bring them down that far, everybody else is going to as well, because they're not going to, outprice themselves on a game. So that being said, I went to Walmart and Best Buy and checked Amazon, and the only game I found that I thought was worth paying at the moment was Jedi Survivor. Now, this game at Walmart says it's going to be $35 after Black Friday. They've already got that marked down. So how much was it for Black Friday sale? It was $30. Now on eBay it's still going for, $40, $45, and that's just because the sale prices haven't kicked in yet. Of course, eBay's always cheaper than everywhere else. You can buy brand new Switch games for like $48. So, yeah, once everything catches up, eBay prices will tank, and then it'll probably be cheaper there. But, it was already in my hands, so I went with it. So, if that was so terrible, then what are these fantastic deals? Well, if you go to a little store that isn't a main retail store, you might find something worth buying. So I have a local shop called GameQuest, and instead of doing price markdowns, which they've done in the past, they used to do like a $1 bin, a $5 bin, a $10 bin. This year they just said, buy two, get one free on anything under $50. And there was no exclusions. You could buy Pokemon cards, you could buy those Funko Pops, you could buy games, you can mix and match. It was a great sale. And I ended up walking out with 9 games for a lot less than what I normally would have. The first one I'm going to show is just Turok. I had Turok 2 and what is equivalent to 4. I didn't have 1 or 3. Well, they informed me that Turok 1 is not that expensive, but Turok 3 is getting up there pretty high. And the reason for that, the new Turok collection has Game 1, Game 2, and Game 4. Makes no sense whatsoever. They didn't even have Turok 3, and I don't have Turok 3. You might have to find a repro of Turok 3 if it gets out of hand. Because for me, Turok is good, but it's not $50, $60 good. So you can get N64 repros for like $20. I might have to go that route with it. This one I think was only about 10. The other older cartridge-based game, and this one's kind of dirty, but we're going to see if it works, was Defender on the Atari 5200, and I know some people don't really like the 5200 because of the controllers. I have fixed mine. I've done a whole video on that. If you want to see it, just go find it. My controllers work flawlessly, and they will not be breaking anytime soon. So as long as the inside doesn't look like the outside, we're going to be in good shape here. I'll probably open that up and clean it. Going on from there, I have a list on a Google Sheets spreadsheet. And for most, I'd say about half of the systems I own, I've gone through and looked at every game that was ever put on said system. I wrote down every single one that looks interesting. Of course, over time, I might knock a few off. I think there was one I found, and I looked at it now, I was like, yeah, it doesn't quite look as good, and I just erased it off the list. But that being said, it was very easy. I just go up to, like, let's say the Wii section, and I decided to go in reverse, and I found Zack and Wiki, which was one I always was interested in. You can see the back as well. And, $20, and then once you start knocking, buy two, get one free, then it really, the price really comes down overall. So yeah, that's how I went about this. I just kind of followed my list. Didn't really buy anything outside of my list. I did pick up 3 original Xbox games. It was going to be 4. However, they didn't have this one on Xbox. They had this on PS2. I'm not too picky when it comes to which multi-platform you buy for. Typically, the Xbox looks the best. Sometimes the GameCube looks the best. The PlayStation 2 never looked the best. However, the PlayStation 2 sold better, so sometimes it's easier to find games on PS2. So this one is Dr. Muto, which is that guy right there. You can see the back of this. I haven't played these games yet, so I don't know too much about them. I just know I watched like a 30-second video and saw, oh, this one looks pretty good, so I'm going to add it to the list. That's not true for this one, but we're going to get to that in a minute. This Freedom Fighters for the original Xbox, it's another one of those that was just on my list. I honestly didn't remember this one at all, so I'm going to be in for a surprise. If I liked it from watching a 30-second video, it must have been pretty good. Legacy of Kain, I actually played Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver back in the day. The game was amazing. So this one I actually know what I'm getting into. The third original Xbox game. So out of all of my games, I have only ever sold 3 games in my entire life, and I regretted 2 of them, and I have now rebought both of them. And the first one was Final Fantasy VII. I had an original Black Label one for back in the day. The whole Black Label ones are being pricey. That thing went out the window when people realized that's not true. So I ended up with a new Black Label copy that wasn't ridiculously priced. But the other game that was always hard for me to find was Crazy Taxi 3. I had this game when I bought my original Xbox as a bundle from eBay back in, I think, 2008, which is really when I started collecting games. And at the time, I didn't know what Crazy Taxi was. I wasn't really into arcadey games. I was more into like adventure or platformer. So at the time, I didn't like it. But then I played Crazy Taxi 1 on Dreamcast, I'd say 2 years later or something. And I really enjoyed it. And then I picked up Crazy Taxi 2, and I really enjoyed it. And then I thought about it, and it's like, I wish I didn't sell this, because I traded it into GameStop for pennies. I know I did. I think the other game I traded in, the third game, was like a Madden game. It wasn't anything that I care about. But yeah, the other 2, Final Fantasy VII and Crazy Taxi 3, I've now rebought the games that I have sold. And I will never sell anything ever again, unless it's a duplicate, which there aren't too many in here. I have duplicate systems, but that's for a whole different purpose. Now then, the last 2 games that I got, they're PS3 games, and this is a series that I was never really into this style of game anyway, but when I saw these games, they looked incredibly interesting because there's also like a sense of humor to them from what I remember, and that's the Disgaea series. So they had 3 and 4 on the PS3, and this whole series is cheap to get into. They also had D2, which was kind of like, it was the other PS3 entry in the series. So Disgaea D2 was essentially Disgaea 1.5, but that game was going for like $35, and this was $11.99. This is marked $14.99, but they charged me $11.99. I don't know, he must have scanned this one twice. But I saw on the receipt, I got them both for $11.99. But I don't have 1 and 2. So what I ended up doing, as soon as I left, is I went on eBay and found them both for about $11.99 a piece, which is what the whole series, for the most part, seems to go for. And I have them coming from eBay. Just that way I can start from number 1, even though it is often said that number 1 is probably the hardest one to get into. But at least I have them, and I can try it out. I did, because this is, if you don't know, this is kind of like one of those strategy RPGs where, see if you can see it, it's hard to see. It's where you're almost like on a checkerboard, and you move said character this many spaces, and then you do your thing. For me, if the story is entertaining, I like it. I like triangle strategy. I like the Mario and Rabbids ones. This one looked kind of interesting, and from what I remember watching it, was kind of funny. Like, it wasn't taking itself serious. It's one of the ones I remember, Divinity 2, Original Sin or whatever, I got that really cheap once from, I think it was GameStop or somewhere. Put it in. It took itself so serious that it was not fun. And that went right back. So, since then, I'm giving that whole genre another shot. But yeah, if you want a deal, Yeah, you can find some stuff at Walmart and Best Buy, Amazon, but they're lying to you. And maybe not Walmart, but Amazon and Best Buy are lying to you about the price discounts. However, I still got this. I mean, there was some stuff. I think Elden Ring was down to like $40. Diablo 5, or 5, yeah. Diablo 4 was down to $50, which they are games that I want, but I'm not really interested in paying that much for those games. They're kind of like $30 and less games. Same with this. A lot of new games, $30 or less. They're not as entertaining. Like, I might be willing to spend more on an old game these days than a new game, just because some of this stuff, it's better when it's had time to stew. You know, when they put out all the updates and all the extra content, then you could find Game of the Year editions and all that kind of stuff that have everything, instead of you getting half of a game or, you know, a broken game. Cyberpunk 2077 is a great example, but it's not the only example. So, new stuff, I wait. But yeah, that was my Black Friday adventure. It wasn't as exciting as previous years. Walmart also had the thing where they didn't have anything labeled. Like, you walked up to the case and some, if you were lucky, had a sticker, but the sticker didn't mean anything because there was no sign to explain the stickers. You had to look everything up on the app. Like, you'd have to, you're thinking to buy this game? Okay, well, look on the app. Oh, it's not on sale. Let me try this game. Oh, that one is. It's not labeled at all here, but it's on sale on the app. It was awful, really. So, let me know what you got, and I'll see you in the next one.